Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this Talkback Thursday conversation. My name is Christina Ganis, and I'm the Campus and Community Programs Manager at the Gouge Performing Arts Center. Today we will discuss the Department of Theater's upcoming production, The Future is Here, a student one-act and performance festival. This festival is fully produced, directed, managed, designed, and performed by students. I am thrilled to introduce our guests today, all of whom are performing and have had a role in the creation and production of the festival. So first, I would like to introduce Emma Fox as one of the student directors for the festival. They're from Birmingham, Alabama, and a senior majoring in musical theater. Next, we have Bailey Hammett, a student costume designer from Andalusia, Alabama, and a senior majoring in theater design and technology with a concentration in costumes. Next is Ann Nelson, a student choreographer. She is a graduating senior from Madison, Alabama, majoring in nursing and minoring in dance. And last but certainly not least, we have Anna Vu is on the management team for the festival. She is a junior from Lilburn, Georgia, majoring in theater management. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So I'm eager to discuss the upcoming performance and festival. So I do want to jump right in, but I would like to take just a second to invite our viewing audience to ask any questions or leave any comments, and we will get to those at the end of the conversation today. All right. So first question, I understand this is the final production from the theater department's 2020-2021 season, Changing Stages, Staging Change. And the festival this weekend will take place here at the Gouge Center. Can you talk a little about the festival overall?
I'll start. Yeah, it's what I think is really interesting about theater. And so it's really exciting for all of us to put on different hats and understand how outdoor theater works and how to manage doing multiple things at one time, specifically Anna Vu managing.
Yeah, I guess I can take off from there. So I'm on the management team, and working on the festival has been an amazing experience, working with like all student designers, student directors, like working with my peers. So the festival consists of 4 one-acts. Emma is directing one of the one-acts, and then 6 dance pieces. So we have 3 different stages, and I'm stage managing at one of the stages, and the other managers are stage managing at the other stages.
Wonderful.
I guess, so I'm kind of here representing the dancers and the choreographers in this festival. And something that's really special to me about this festival is that I at least was working on this piece last spring, and I was going to be performing it at our spring dance concert last spring. But when COVID kind of shut everything down, the whole production was canceled. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of my opportunity to re-show my piece that I started, a whole year ago. So it makes it really special that we're able to actually have, some sort of festival with dance and with theater, and allows a lot of the students like me who's a senior to have one last chance to perform.
Yeah, I think after so much Zoom theater this year, it's it's like a breath of fresh air to finally get to do things live and in person and collaboratively with our peers, because it's been so many online theater things for so long now. So it's been very, very nice to have this opportunity to do all of this.
Wonderful. I bet. I've heard that a lot. I think that a lot of people are a little over the screens and we're ready to get back out there and see some live performances. It's very exciting. Yes. So I'd love to hear more about the inspiration and the creative side of things. Would each of you mind sharing a little about what the creative process has been like for you and how it's been different than maybe traditional theater production?
I can start. We got to pick our pieces as part of directing, and for me, I've never directed before. And so this was a really interesting way. And so I had to think about, what do I want to show? What do I want to talk about? And we have so many wonderful queer artists in our department, and we rarely do queer work. So I was like, this is the best time to showcase it. This is the time that I get to put my say into something. So I focused a lot on making sure that we had wonderful queer work to put on stage and represent with queer actors. And then I'm designing my own show, costume designing my own show. And then with a queer set designer, it just feels really good to have something that I feel like fully represents our department in a way that we don't get to often.
Wonderful.
I would say from the dance side of things, this is a special festival because it is all student choreographed. And personally for me, I'm in my last semester of nursing school, and we do a preceptorship. And so I've actually been living in Birmingham through like the majority of the rehearsal time. So I had to cram a bunch of my, creativity and I guess choreographing in an actual dance space, before I left for Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've just kind of been trying to come back occasionally. So it's been a struggle kind of trying to deal with, my nursing responsibilities, and then also keep up with the theater department and what they're wanting to do. But the other thing that's really interesting about this festival and kind of the creative process of it is that it's, outdoors. At least the dance portion is on an outdoor stage. So it's kind of site specific. You're working with a lot of external factors like wind and sun, and those are things I've never worked with before because I've never done an outside piece. So that kind of challenges you to be a little creative. Like, the second half of my piece is on the aerial silks, and the wind has just taken it all over the place. And so I've kind of had to choreograph how I'm going to reach for them, if the wind's taking them halfway off the stage. And then I guess creative side of the choreography for my piece is, since I am a senior and this is my last performance, I kind of wanted to tell the story of my time within the dance program. Originally, I started out my freshman year, danced in the 2016 spring concert and fell in love with it. And then over the summer, I was in a car accident and was paralyzed from the waist down. And so I took a semester off. And then during that semester off, I met with Adrienne Wilson and kind of told her that I wanted to continue the dance minor. And neither of us have had experience working with a wheelchair dancer. I've never had the experience of dancing in a wheelchair, and she hasn't worked with somebody in a wheelchair. So that was very, very monumental to my life to be able to continue the dance minor. And like, I've worked with so many people in the theater department, and I've worked with Emma, and I've had a lot of dance classes with the people that, I'm going to be in this festival with. So anyways, I kind of use dance as part of my recovery and my therapy throughout the years. And so that's kind of what my piece is a lot about, is how I've gotten into ballet since my injury and into modern dance and into the aerial silks. And so I've kind of incorporated all of my my movement experience into like a little one performance piece. So it's a larger story, but I'm really glad that I get to tell it.
That's wonderful, Anne. Thank you so much for sharing.
I think from a costume designer's perspective of all of this, it's been really, we've had a lot of freedom in the show when it's outside. So there's no lights, there's nothing we're really competing with. So there's a lot of freedom in our costume designs. And we've gotten to work with some really interesting shows, and we've been given a lot of trust as student designers. Like, working with the designers working with Anne's piece, it's been a very challenging thing to figure out how to do silks and how to work outside and how to do all of these things. So it's been very, very cool as a designer and as a young designer just starting out, getting to try so many new things and work so creatively to make this show happen, especially alongside like these incredible directors and stage managers and people like that. So it's been a very cool process for the festival.
I bet. I can imagine so.
Yeah, I love that the theater department has allowed us this opportunity as students to like be fully immersed in this project with guidance, but it's like truly like the students festival, which I love, and they giving us that opportunity. And like on a manager side, this is so different because we're managing 4 different shows at once and then 6 dance pieces. Usually it's just one show. So just like having that preparation of everything being set, everything in order for the live theater to happen on stage is something that has been very inspiring and collaborative.
I bet. I know that our audience and myself too are very forward to seeing all the performances this weekend. It sounds wonderful. It's great. So I know that you talked about how the Department of Theater kind of let you do this, and that was a lot of trust there. Can you talk about like what it's like to collaborate with your professors and other students on this festival, especially since they've kind of just let you do your thing a little bit?
I can talk. I have the lovely Dr. Carr that is in charge of all of us directors. We have a class that's every Friday, and for like 4 hours, we just sit and we talk about what we need to get done. We learn new directing techniques, but I think for this, she's just kind of given us the reins, and she's there if we have questions or a crisis or we just need to complain or anything. She's just there for us, which I am so grateful for. I have used her so many times to just sit and be like, I just need to vent, and then I can move on. But yeah, so what we've done basically is she's kind of checked in with us every step of the way. She's come to our rehearsals and watched in, made sure nothing looked strange or off. And it's just kind of been like the backbone of all of us this whole time, which has been really, really nice. And same with Miss Tracy and Jenny in the costume shop. They've really, anything we need, we can ask. But other than that, it's just kind of given to us, which is really nice.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah, speaking of Jenny and Tracy, I have asked so many questions and had needed so much help just because it's kind of a scary thing to do for the first time, to design your first show. But they've ultimately been like, you need to make your final decisions. You need to let this be your creative. My dogs are barking. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Maybe they'll be quiet. Oh no. Okay. Anyway, sorry. But it's been a very, very, I don't know. I've grown in my confidence a lot in this show because I've just been allowed to kind of do my own thing. Somebody else mind to go for a second.
Sure. Would one of y'all like to answer? We can come back to Bailey.
Yeah. So I stage managed previously, but for this production specifically, I've been able to work with my management professor, Sarah Chandler, as on the management team, which has been very cool. I've been loving collaborating with her on all the stages. And since there's 3 of us, we've been stage managing one at each stage. And that's something I haven't had the opportunity to do, to work with her in a production setting. She's usually just there to give me feedback and guidance, but we're actually a team in this production, which is very exciting.
It's great.
Let's see, for dance, can you say the question again?
Sure. I just asked what it was like to collaborate with your professors and the other students on this festival, and the professors just giving you the reins and letting you kind of take over.
Yeah, so for me, it's been very sentimental because both Adrian Wilson and Jerry Dickey have been huge influences in my life, especially my time here at Auburn. So it's really neat for me to be able to work with both of them on the same piece, because they're both very specialized in, their types of dance, and their styles are very different. So it's really neat to have both perspectives. And so that's been really great. And, just getting to spend time with them, before I leave has been really special to me. I know that some of the other dance pieces are actually working on their choreography and stuff in class, in Adrian's class, I believe. So they've been able to have that opportunity. It's kind of built into their schedule, which I know is convenient for them. But as far as me, it's been a lot of coordinating over email and text as to when I'm going to actually be in Auburn and available, or if the space for me to work is available. So that's been, challenging, but we've made it work. And then as far as, working with the other students, I think that this has been one of the smoothest running shows that I've been in here at Auburn, and I've been in quite a few. And I think that that's great. Like the management and everybody has done such a good job, just being very professional and collaborative and everything. So I'm just very impressed with what everyone else is doing. It's very amazing.
Absolutely. Bailey, did you want to finish up what you were going to say?
Maybe we can make it through a couple sentences, but yeah, I just want to say that I also work in the costume shop, so I've gotten a lot of opportunities to build my own costumes and to actually physically create the things that are going to be on stage, which has been really cool to see my designs actually come to life in that way. And not everyone has been creating their own. We've had a lot of student staff and other people getting to work on the costumes, so it's been very, very cool to see everyone coming together to make these things happen, which always happens in the costume shop because it's a very collaborative place. But it's been very, very cool to see my own designs and my own things that I created out of my own mind for this show, and to see them right in front of me and to be able to build them. So it's been very cool.
Absolutely. It has to be special for all of you, especially given the times that we're in with the pandemic, that you're all able to collaborate and come together and put on a really amazing performance that you all designed and managed and created. And that has to be extra special right now. Yeah, that's wonderful. So for all of you just joining in, I'm live with Auburn University's Emma, Anne, Bailey, and Anna from the Department of Theater. We are discussing the upcoming production, The Future is Here, a student one-act and performance festival, which will take place on the grounds of the Gouge Center this weekend, Saturday, April 10th and Sunday, April 11th. This festival is currently open for registration on the theater department's website. So we've got about 10 or so minutes left, and I have a few more questions for you. So we've talked about the trust with your professors and the collaborative process. What has been some of the most challenging and or rewarding aspects preparing for the festival?
I think for me, it's always hard to do something for the first time. And since this is my first time directing, I've just been kind of let loose. So that's been really challenging, just to kind of figure out what I'm doing, but also having to be in charge at the same time and not know what you're doing. But also in that way, knowing that I'm going to have a show and that there's a show and it's a good show, that feels very rewarding. Like we've made it to the end of the process. I think it also is just challenging. There's so many people that are a part of this. So many people that are doing multiple jobs at one time. I mean, I'm designing my own show. Mal, our set designer, they have to design 2 different stages, but 4 different shows, which is chaos. And understanding how they fit together, and kind of all of the planning has to fit like this big, giant, crazy puzzle piece. So that was, I think, probably the most challenging part. But at the same time, now that it's all come together, very, very rewarding at the same time.
Of course, yes.
I've kind of mentioned some of at least the personal challenges I've faced just with being kind of setting up my rehearsal times and being able to come drive, back and forth between, my preceptorship in Birmingham and then coming back to try to get rehearsal times. You can do dance choreography, in the wheelchair or out of it or whatever, kind of in, any sort of space. But what I don't have access to is the silks. And so I've had to coordinate with Jerry and the other management just as to when I can actually come back and rehearse on the silks. And then on the other side of things, work on the aerial silks is very physically demanding, and Emma's taken the class now, and so she knows. And so any time that you take off, away from it, you have to build up your stamina again. And so that's been something that I've been concerned about is, if I spend 2 weeks away from the silks, it's kind of like starting over. And so I've had to come in condition several times before actually running my piece, and a lot of sore muscles later. It's coming together. So that's just been kind of a challenge is being away from the silks, and then having to come back and work on them kind of with time lapsed in between.
Yeah, I think Emma briefly mentioned this, but just working on multiple shows at once, because I think we're used to just working on one production at a time. So just kind of juggling all of that is a big challenge. And then with it being at a new venue at the Goose Center and not at the Telfair Pete, that's also been a challenge. And it being outside, because a lot of weather, we have to think about weather and wind and everything. But I think the most rewarding thing is just seeing it actually out there and coming together. So I think that's been probably the most rewarding, to seeing all our hard work that we have put into this project since January is finally being shown for audiences.
Of course, yes, absolutely. All right. Well, so we've talked about the production, we've talked about your roles. What about maybe the audience? So I know that this is going to be quite a unique experience for them to come see it here at GPAC. What are you most looking forward to about it, and maybe what the audience should be excited to see?
For my piece specifically, I'm just most excited to get to have a live audience. We just haven't had that in over a year. So it's this kind of new thing that I'm so excited to get to have again. And I think also, for the audience, it's going to be such a different experience to what they're used to at the Telfair, because you're going to have to move from one stage to the next. And then also getting to see, for example, my stage A, has one piece on it that happens in a kitchen, and then my piece happens at a bar and then turns into a bridge, and all of these things happen. And how, we've worked around making that happen on a space outside without, having a ton of wires and everything hanging everywhere else. So I think that's going to be really interesting for the audience to kind of see more of the backstage than they're used to with our stages.
That's exciting. I love that. That's great.
I think it's a very special thing to come and see all of what Emma said, but also just personally, my mom's coming to see this show, and it's a show about a mom and a daughter that I got to design. So it's just kind of the small things like that are very special and exciting. And it's our first time being back together and getting to sit next to our friends and the people we care about and see this thing that we all care about so much. So I think we're all just very excited to finally be back together and to have our love of theater all come together and be shown to everyone that we care about. So,
yeah, I definitely agree with all of those things. Just being able to have a live audience, and then the audience experience, being able to see a live show with, their loved ones around, or even their loved ones in the show. I was going to say something else. I would say, I kind of talked about the challenge of the wind blowing the silks around, but at the same time, I see the other side of it, and it's actually a really cool effect that it's going to have in the look of it. And that's something that we would not be getting inside. I mean, you'd have to have the biggest fan ever in order for that to happen. It wouldn't even look the same. So it'll be really interesting just having the whole outdoor effect of it, and with the sun and how the sun will be setting, kind of towards the end of the dance show. And so I think it'll just be really neat to see how the site affects the production.
Yes, that will be very neat. Very, very cool. All right, great. Well, I'm going to check our comments really quick to see if we have any questions from our live audience. So we have a few comments, one from Auburn University Theater. Thank you all for sharing your passions and stories with everyone. We're all excited to see your hard work come to life. And we have one from Jonathan. It says, great conversation and such important representation on the stage. Looking forward to seeing it all come together this weekend. Thank you for bringing your work to the Goosh Center. And then Amy Miller says, well done in collaborating on a multifaceted project during such challenging times. Looking forward to experiencing your pieces this weekend. And one more comment from Jamie Fox, looking forward to this festival. So already the audience is very excited for what we have coming up this weekend. That's great. So quickly, just to kind of end the question session, what is next for each of you? Big question to end it.
Yeah, for me, I am a senior, so I'm graduating. The ultimate plan for me is to, act with things still closed. I'm headed back to Birmingham to be with my family for a little while because of some family stuff. But I'm really excited to kind of get to take all of these things that I've learned and all of the many skills that I've learned at Auburn, between aerial silks, between working in the costume shop, designing and directing. There are so many things I can do and so many jobs that I could apply for. I feel like I am almost even overly prepared to work in my field. So it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking, but exciting at the same time. Absolutely.
Very exciting.
For me, I'm also a senior, so I'll be graduating, and I'm hoping to take on a full-time nursing position, probably in Birmingham. And I would really like to work in the post-anesthesia care unit or the recovery room. That's where I've been doing my preceptorship, and it's been a fantastic experience. I've learned a ton already, and physically the environment is comfortable. So that's what I would like to do, but I would also really like to continue dance in some way. I'm not sure where yet. I'll consider, maybe auditioning for a company, or maybe trying to create some choreography opportunities for myself by reaching out to different studios and asking if they, would want this experience for their dancers, because being a wheelchair dancer, there really is not a lot of us, and I think it's a really, really neat opportunity for diversity, to kind of diversify these different dancers before they're going off to college or going off to wherever they're going. So yeah, just being able to continue working as well as my dance passion. So kind of where I'm going.
Great. I am not a senior. Thank goodness I don't have to have my life figured out right now. But this summer I have a theater job in Texas, so that's very exciting. I'm a wardrobe supervisor, so I get to continue to learn and grow and do more things in theater, in the costume world. So that is what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to pretend I don't have to figure out the rest of the things until I need to figure them out. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm also not a senior, but I do have a couple of summer jobs lined up, one in Utah and one in New York for stage management. And then I'll be back here in the fall, hopefully stage managing some more. And then I'll figure out after college when the time gets there.
I understand. That's great. Well, best wishes to those of you who are graduating. I know you'll make us all proud. That is all the time we have for today. I would like to take the opportunity to thank each of you for joining us and being so generous with your time. We're looking forward to the performances and the festival this weekend. Very excited.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, of course. You can see Emma, Ann, Bailey, and Anna, and many other students from Auburn University's theater department this Saturday, April 10th, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m., and Sunday, April 11th, beginning at 2 o'clock p.m. at the Gouge Performing Arts Center. Tickets are still available for the Performance Festival on the theater department's website at theatertickets.auburn.edu. The Gouge Center is thrilled to announce the return of in-person performances this month. Please visit our website for more information. Join us again next Thursday, April 15th at 1 o'clock p.m. for another live episode in GPAC's Talkback Thursday series. Thank you again for joining us today and have a wonderful afternoon.